A little bit of a problem in a little motorhome. What's happening is that a little yellow light there with the key on, with the lock on, it's not registering the immobiliser. And so the motorhome saga continues. So today I'm going to try something. Now, because of trying to try different things and whatever, we've run the battery down. So I've got the battery on charge. We could do some new charging leads, couldn't we, really? So disconnected the negative and then connected our charger up, so I've got the battery on charge for a little bit, and then we're going to try something. We've got a tip coming up today, so we're going to have a look at security. Now, there's many different options on security. We've got hitch locks, we've got wheel locks, leg locks, and then you can even have the security posts put into the driveway. So lots of different things that we need to think about over the winter. Obviously, we darker of a morning, it gets darker earlier of an evening, so it just opens the possibility up to thieves. So I thought this week would be a very good idea to have a look at our security and just have a look at some tips and what we should be looking at and thinking about. Got a delivery. Have a look what this is. Oh, it's a gas strut. What the hell? Can anyone in the comments guess what that's off? That's one beefy gas strut. Now, with these security measures in mind, it's a very, very good time to check your insurance policy, especially if you've got a twin axle, because sometimes they'll say that you've got to have 2 wheel locks on there. So if sort of through the summer you go, oh, I'm not using it that often, I'm only going to put one on, make sure that you actually lock both wheels up, because insurances are going to use any little thing to get out. So if anything were to happen, obviously twin axles are very, very popular for getting stolen, so make sure your security is right, bang up to how it should be. Again, if you're on a single axle and you've got an alarm system, you need to make sure that if your insurance company is saying that that alarm should be activated, that your alarm is in a good condition, it's working, it's doing what it should be doing, and you've tested it and it's armed when you're not with the caravan. All these little details that will make a big difference with the insurance. If something were to happen, they will find anything to wriggle out of it. So again, if you're keeping it in storage, make sure that you've got all of your locks on. Even little rear leg locks like that can help and just make a bit of a difference. Just doing as much as you possibly can now, so that if something were to happen, you're not sort of sat there and going, oh, we should have done this, or oh, we should have done that. Make sure that you've done everything that you possibly can. If you keep it at home, as I say, driveway bollards are a very, very good security measure. If you're on this Alco chassis with the little Alco receiver, they are a very, very, very good lock system, and they're actually diamond rated, so it's not impenetrable. They can still be gotten off, unfortunately, but it takes them a long time to do that, so hopefully it's going to slow them down enough to sort of make them think, oh, we'll pick on something else. So make sure you've got the all locks on there. It is the time now where, with the darker nights and whatever, your storage at home, it's just a little bit more vulnerable, and we see thefts going up quite a lot this time of year. Back onto the motorhome, and I've just disconnected or undone the positive cable, and what I'm going to do is just disconnect the positive from the battery. I'm going to turn the key with no connection, so the battery is completely disconnected. And I'm putting the key into the first position, which is MAR, M-A-R. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect up the negative. So what we do is put our negative connection on first. And now we leave it in this position for 10 minutes. We're not going to do anything else now, just in that position for 10 minutes. We've given it 10 minutes and we are now going to connect up the positive lead on the battery. So I'll tighten that back up and make sure it's all fitted correctly, and now we leave it for another 10 minutes. Somebody had sent this in one of the comments on our video the other day, that basically when we couldn't get the motorhome started, and they said, try this. We tried it, it worked for us, it reset the immobiliser to the key, so we're giving it a go. If this doesn't work, I'm going to have to get the ECU out and send that off for testing. I think that's our next port of call. So, moment of truth, we're going to try the motorhome and see whether that has worked. So at the minute we've still got that little padlock on the dash, which is the thing that is causing us the issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the key off now, take the key out, and then we'll go back in. Hopefully that goes out. It's not doing, is it? No. Don't know whether that battery's still just a little bit low, so what I'm going to try is recharging that battery up, because I've still got the battery light on there, and give that another go. We'll go through that process again once that battery's charged up a little bit further. But so far that's not looking great, so I might start to have a look at where the actual ECU is. Again, somebody said if they're a Bosch ECU on these, they can be troublesome, so we're going to have a look at that and see whether that is a Bosch ECU or what it is. So we're back on charge, and we'll give it a little bit of time and see what happens. So our ECU is located just behind our fuse board, so literally just at the back of here. So if I can get the camera in, that is our actual ECU just there. So you can see the bolts on there needed to remove that. So we're going to try it once more once that battery's charged up and see whether it will actually code back in or not, and if not, we're going to have to send that ECU off and then see whether that is what the issue is. So that might be our next port of call. Now then, it transpires that the ECU has previously gone to Actronics. The ECU is a Bosch ECU, which I've been told by another electrical engineer are quite problematic, and it ends up that actually there's a sticker on there already from Actronics where it's had a previous ECU repair. So I've got a feeling that we might just have an issue where it's gone faulty again. So on their website we can book in for a repair, basically tell them what the issue is. So I think that is going to be our next step. So I've just spoken to AC-Tronics who do the ECU repairs, and obviously we're not 100% sure that it definitely is that ECU that's the problem. So it's quite an expensive repair if it is, but obviously if we send that off, I'm a bit worried of paying an awful lot of money to send it off, and it might not actually be the issue. So just spoken to them, and they've confirmed that if we send the ECU off to them and it's not the issue that we think that it is, so there's not actually an issue with the ECU, they will just charge us a testing fee and the postage. So it does work out a little bit better, so it's definitely worth us sending that off, getting it checked, and then at worst case it's just a testing and postage cost. So I think that's next. So we're going to find out if that fixes it and see how we get on, basically. Hopefully you've enjoyed this week's video. Obviously security, it's a big issue this time of year, so make sure that you've done all that you possibly can to make sure your caravan or motorhome is secure. Make sure your insurance is all correct. Obviously if you keep the caravan in storage, you still need to have insurance to make sure that if it gets stolen or anything, you've actually got covered. The insurance won't cover you from the actual storage site, so you've got to have your own insurance policy in place. Do as much as you possibly can. For the hassle and aggravation that it causes if something happens, it's worth just going a little bit over the top. And again, if you keep it on the drive, do as much as you possibly can as well. Ring doorbells or any sort of pre-notification and early notification is very good if you keep the caravan or motorhome at home. And it's that early warning, at least you can sort of shout through the ring system or whatever system it is that you're going to possibly use. But that just early detection is the key. Again, air tags, putting little air tags within the caravan hidden, that's another way to sort of keep an eye on the caravan or motorhome and tracking it through. So just a few different things that we can try. If there's anything that you found that's been really good, let us know in the comments. Again, if you've liked the video, let us know in the comments. And we will see you next week. Give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for watching. I'm Mark at the Caravan Place. So we've got to the bottom of the gas strut, and yeah, it's about the same sort of size, but that isn't a strut for a gas locker. That's more of a hitch damper or something like that, so I don't think we're going to be fitting that onto there. I I think we've had a bit of an issue with sizings there. I think that might be the issue.